Hello everybody, it's time to talk about what else I saw in June. It was a busy month with fewer opportunities to watch movies, so this should be a shorter video. Should be. We'll see. Let's start with number 1, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I've seen certain parts of this 1977 Alien film several times on TV, but I think this was my first time seeing it from the very beginning. This isn't one of my top favorite Spielberg movies, but it's got some great moments. The scene in the pickup truck when Richard Dreyfuss first sees the lights, the scene where the aliens are trying to get in the house to take the little boy and his mother is frantically trying to keep them out, and that kid is so perfect for the role. The scenes of Dreyfuss going crazy, making the mountain shape out of mashed potatoes and mud, and his beleaguered wife, played by Terry Garr, losing her patience. The final sequence is fascinating too. Great special effects and unforgettable use of that little 5-note tune. I love the part when the mothership blasts it and startles all the scientists. Ba 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 ba. This movie has become classic alien drama, visually impressive but also thoughtful, and filled with that special Spielberg touch of awe and wonder. Our second movie is called Wichita, a 1955 Western starring Joel McCrea. I'd never seen a Joel McCrea Western before. I think I mentioned in my Foreign Correspondent review a while back that I'd like to see a few, since I've liked Joel McCrea in every movie I've seen him in so far, and after a certain point in his career, he only made Westerns. Well, I finally saw one. I ended up going for this one first because it was pretty well rated and co-stars Vera Miles, who I haven't seen in a movie yet where she didn't leave a favorable impression on me. McCrea plays Wyatt Earp, a familiar name from Wild West lore, but though I recognize it, I honestly couldn't have told you what his story or personality was all about before seeing this movie. The movie also features Lloyd Bridges and Peter Graves, among others, with Keith Larson as Bat Masterson, another familiar Wild West name that I confess my parents were more familiar with than me. It's interesting that this movie was directed by Jacques Tourneur, who's more known for his directorial efforts in the horror and noir genres. Anyway, I liked this one, and look forward to checking out more of Joel McCrea's westerns. Movie number 3 is 2017's War for the Planet of the Apes. I was cautiously optimistic about this one. I really liked Rise of the Planet of the Apes, the first one, but found Dawn of the Planet of the Apes pretty forgettable. However, I heard glowing reports of this one, and I wasn't put off when informed that the title is kind of a misnomer. On the contrary, War for the Planet of the Apes sounds like it would have a lot of battles, and seemingly endless fighting sequences aren't my thing. It's not enough to carry a movie for me. So I was very pleased with how much character and story and heart this movie turned out to have. The first part was a little bumpy for me. Like I said, Dawn didn't leave a lasting impression, and I couldn't remember where things had left off with Caesar and company. Part of the problem was that I couldn't tell who was who, something that I struggled with a lot in Dawn. But once the story got rolling, or once a bunch of characters got killed off, can I say that? It's not really a spoiler, is it? After a certain point, that feeling wore off, and I ended up really enjoying the path it took, with Caesar's internal struggle, Maurice and the little girl, and my favorite addition, Bad Ape, who provided some much-needed lighter moments. I feel a little critical of how over-the-top Woody Harrelson's character was, but I appreciate that he's not overly simplified either. I also found a couple of the throwbacks, or Easter eggs, or whatever you want to call them, to the original movie a little strange. Having done some research, I did get an explanation for the reused names, that they aren't the original characters when they were younger, they're just showing how these names became iconic for the new ape mythology and would be used among them for generations to come. I guess that makes sense. Ultimately, I was satisfied with this movie as a conclusion to the Apes prequel trilogy. I hope it's really the end, though. Series these days don't seem to know when to quit. Movie number 4 is a World War II movie. Oh my goodness, we only watched one this month. It is an old British war movie from 1949, The Small Back Room, also known as Hour of Glory. One of you recommended this one months ago. I finally got to it. This Powell and Pressburger movie stars David Farrar as an explosive expert with a tin leg battling his inner demons as he works to figure out the mechanics of a deadly new German bomb. Realism and fantasy combine in an intriguing way in this movie, a theme that Powell and Pressburger often explored. There's one imaginative sequence in which Farrar struggles not to cave to his alcoholism as the tempting bottle literally towers over him. Yet the film also has an impressively realistic feel, capturing the hustle and bustle of crowded, rationed, tired British civilians trying to carry on while the war rages around them. This movie features a quintessential British cast, including Kathleen Byron, Jack Hawkins, young Michael Gough, also Michael Goodliffe in a small part, his first film role. Goodliffe wasn't a big star, but he's popped up in several movies I've seen lately, and I'm mentioning him here in the hope that I'll be able to remember his name later. Because if I say it in a video, I'm much less likely to forget it. Movie number 5 is Victor Frankenstein, the 2015 retelling of Mary Shelley's story from the perspective of Frankenstein's assistant Igor, who was not in Mary Shelley's book. You can thank Universal Studios and Dwight Fry and Bela Lugosi and Marty Feldman and Terry Pratchett too for the Igor character's longevity in the Frankenstein legend. In this version, James McAvoy plays the eccentric doctor, and Daniel Radcliffe plays Igor, a kindly and intelligent hunchback who Frankenstein saves from the circus, cures, and invites to be his partner in the lab. I guess, in a way, this was fun. I think it was intended to be, at least some of the time, but I did catch myself thinking several times, I'm not enjoying this as much as I think I'm supposed to. I found it both a little tedious and a little too bombastic, and while there was some of the goofy buddy movie stuff I was thinking there'd be, there wasn't as much. James McAvoy looked good though, so there's that. And lastly, movie number 6 is 12 Strong, a 2018 war movie that tells the true story of the Horse Soldiers, a special forces unit, the first to be deployed after 9/11. They are sent on a mission to work with an Afghan warlord with whom they share a common enemy, the Taliban. The Americans and the Afghan general are supposed to join forces, but there are a lot of obstacles to overcome, including language and cultural barriers and the soldiers' lack of trust. I originally thought Chris Hemsworth seemed like kind of an odd choice for the role, but he did fine. His American accent is mostly convincing. Considering that I didn't hear a lot of buzz about this one, I ended up liking it more than I expected to. I thought it was well acted, informative, and engaging. Well, that's it for that month. Aside from the first couple episodes of The Outer Limits, I got Season 1 of The Outer Limits out of the library, so we're gradually making our way through that. I've never seen The Outer Limits before, but I'm really enjoying it. It's like The Twilight Zone, except different. I know people sometimes argue about which one's better. There are a lot of similarities, but there are also differences. When we're done, I will probably do some kind of video on it. Oh, and while I did get to rent the last Maze Runner movie before the end of the month, we didn't actually get to watch it in time. We only watched it yesterday, which is way into the month of July. Didn't make the cutoff point, so you'll have to wait until next month's video to hear what I thought of it. I hope you enjoyed this month's list. Share your thoughts on any of the movies that I mentioned in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching!